And I am back with my Making Mondays Matter kind of a um, chat. I don't know if y'all remember several years ago. Actually, this is probably about 2.5 years ago, 3 years now. I used to have a Making Mondays Matter kind of a podcast. But every Monday I would come on kind of a little bit of a motivational message. And it was usually early in the morning, but I'm here a little bit later, you know, life. So I've had pretty much been kind of taking today, making appointments and that sort of thing. So I didn't want today to go by without actually doing my first and the first Monday of the first Monday of the new year. Didn't want today to go past without actually, you know, doing this intention that I actually set, which was to resurrect my Making Mondays Matter podcast. Um, so if you're here for the first time, welcome. I appreciate you being a part of this YouTube family. You can go back and check on my YouTube channel, and you can see I've actually been around for a little bit. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking about Making Mondays Matter. And this was something I started, like I said, about 3 years ago, and I did it for quite a while. And it was during a period of time where I was actually helping, kind of volunteering with hospice, helping a couple of family members as they were transitioning. And I started this particular podcast or kind of a chat during that particular time. And I hadn't done it in a while. And recently I was sitting back, as I was making goals for the new year, I started to put together things that I had been doing in the past. And for one reason or another, I had stopped or slacked off on. And this was one of them. And I went back and I started looking at a few of the videos, and I realized I really enjoyed those. And other people actually enjoyed coming on and watching those as well. So I'm here back again with Making Mondays Matter. And today we are going to be talking about being in art awe. I'm actually starting a program in just about 10 days called the Dream Me 2025. And it's all related to art, right? Let me rephrase that. It's related to creativity. Art is a small part because we know that creativity involves art and music and drama and those type of things. So the program that I'm going to be doing is has all of those types of art or creativity embedded into the program. So when I'm talking about being in art awe, you can think about all of those things, not just painting or drawing or sculpting, that sort of stuff. So welcome back to my channel. And as promised, I am resurrecting the Making Mondays Matter again. And this is the first one for the year. Today we're going to be diving into that topic, which I feel it's very close to my heart and also close to a lot of people's hearts. I know it's the captivating world of art, right? And just how do we go about feeling or being in awe of art? So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy, and let's explore what that means, right? Okay, so let's define art awe. For many of us, encountering a piece of art can evoke a kind of an overwhelming sense of wonder and admiration sometimes, right? For me, my favorite all-time piece of art is Starry Night by Vincent Van Gogh. All time. Ever since I can remember, that has been my all-time favorite piece of artwork. But whether it's the brushstrokes of a particular master painting or whether it's the intricate details of a sculpture, if you think about the sculpture of David, or the power of a performance. If you've ever been to a concert and you get all caught up in the moment, right? Get caught up in the performance, especially if it's someone playing an instrument that you love, like the drum. A drum solo can just captivate you. A violin solo in there's a Celine Dion song where the violinist is it's a Japanese violinist, and I can never listen to that song without actually crying because of the emotions that the violin just brings up within me. So the power of a performance, art has this unique ability to just inspire deep emotional responses. So can you think about the last piece of art that left you in awe? Like I mentioned, for me, it has to be pretty much anything by Vincent Van Gogh. But my all-time favorite has to be the Starry Night. And I've got several pieces, and I was supposed to bring a piece that I've done in kind of being inspired by that painting, and I completely left it in the room. So I'm gonna ask my son if he would go and get it for me, because I wanted to share that with you, because that is going to be in reference to the activity that's going to be coming up in a minute. So let me ask my son real quick. Munchkin, if you look in the room, you'll see um a tile that I did of Starry Night. It's sitting on my seat by the window. Can you bring it for me, please? So that I definitely wanted to share that with you. So if you can think about the last piece of art that actually kind of left you in awe, what would that be? And if you can think about it immediately, you can feel free to put it into the chat and to kind of share your experience with it below if you feel so inclined. Thank you, babe. I'm going to share it in a little bit. I have it here. So there is actually science behind the whole thing about being inspired by art, right? Or being in art awe. There really is science behind all of this. So it's interesting to note there is science behind our reactions to art. Research shows that viewing art can actually trigger the release of dopamine. And dopamine is that feel-good hormone that you get, right? That means that when you're standing before a breathtaking painting, or you're having some unforgettable experience at a concert, or say there's a sculpture installation, your body is literally responding to that particular beauty. And I think that is really cool. Now, it can also respond in a totally different way, because if there's and I've had that experience where I see artwork that doesn't necessarily give me a good feeling, right? But I try to plan events where I'm going to have a positive experience. So the first time I've ever seen a painting by Van Gogh, it was it was almost like tear jerking, right? It really touches you, or touched me on a level that I never anticipated. But I wasn't surprised, because this was a painting that was in a book that was given to me by my grandmother when I was around 7 or 8 years old. And I remember seeing that painting and just being completely enamored with this painting. And to this day, it is still my all-time favorite painting, to where my kids will give me cups with the painting on it, or they'll give me actual replicas of the painting in a poster form that I can put up. And it's one of the paintings that I taught about whenever I taught it in the middle school and in high school, the high school level. It's one of my favorite paintings. This is called Starry Night. There is even a song that's been written about it, so you can actually go and look that up. But it's just one of my it just gives me a rush of emotions whenever I see that. And that's the one, anytime I look at that particular piece of art, I get that kind of feeling. So Is there a painting for you that kind of brings up, or even not necessarily a painting, it could be a sculpture, or it could be listening to a particular type of music. For some people, it's Michael Jackson. When they listen to Michael Jackson, just kind of gets them into that particular mode. Or it could be Bob Marley. Bob Marley has, gosh, he has inspired the music industry for decades now, and he's been gone for so long, but yet his music has had such an impact that it to this day it is still impacting even the younger generation that's coming up, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be art. It can, or when I say art, like a painting or a sculpture, it can also be music. It could be a performance that you've seen. Maybe it was a movie that you went to see recently that just really just, tugged at those heartstrings. I know one of the movies, and I actually rewatched it recently, that does bring that up for me is the movie called The Killing Fields. And I don't know if you're familiar with that at all, but the I've actually met the real life person that the movie is about, and I'm not going to tell you too much about it. But it's a very powerful movie. So, and it has a lot of different underlying messages to it. So definitely watch it. And I'm sure that you all may have a movie that you tend to watch over and over. I've only watched that movie twice because it is a very powerful movie, but it is related to a particular war. So there are those types of scenes in there that can be, very, very strong. So you don't, it's not a movie that I necessarily want to watch over and over. But if you do have that feel good movie that kind of brings back certain feelings, that you have no problem watching over and over and over, let me know what that is, because other people might want to know as well. So for me, like I mentioned, the favorite painting of mine that just always just brings up those feel good emotions would be Starry Night. And I do have a little bit of an activity that I have done over the years where um, at the end of any of the Making Mondays Matters episodes, I always give you a bit of a challenge, just a small art challenge. And that is going to be the same for these ones moving forward. So today's challenge is going to be, there's going to be three different levels, right? One of them is going to be, I call it the low level, then there's the medium level, and then there's a little bit of a higher level. So I want you to challenge yourself this week to create something, no matter how small. And if you feel so inclined, you can tag me on your social media. Create it, tag me on your social media, whether that's on TikTok or on Facebook or Instagram, or even come back here and say, listen, Gina, I actually did this thing. I actually created a piece of art. And, you know, it was fun, or, maybe it wasn't. Just be honest about it. But I'm going to give you several levels of how to do this. Okay, so I want you to seek out some form of artistic expression that actually inspires you. You can take a walk in a sculpture garden. You can go to a live performance, like a concert or something, visit a museum, eat something gourmet, or watch a sunset. Watching a sunset is literally like watching art taking place right in front of you. Just a painting that just comes to life, and it changes and changes periodically, but it's literally like watching art in motion. That is what a sunset is. It is art in motion. So I want you to express yourself creatively. Either work with some clay, paint something, cook something, write a story, and invite a few friends to come along with you on this journey. This isn't something that you want to do by yourself, although you can, but it's so much more fun when you do it with other people. And three, I want you to replicate a piece from one of your favorite artists. So I want to share with you what the piece that I did. This was several years back when I was actually teaching art in an at the middle school level. This was one of the projects at the I did with the middle school levels. But I also did this when I went to an art teachers conference. Was replicate a piece from my all-time favorite artist. So for you, it could be replicating a painting. You could get some clay and try to replicate the sculpture of David, or you can just find maybe your favorite monologue from maybe you're a fan of Shakespeare. So you find your favorite monologue from Shakespeare and you practice that, or you just put on a movie that's been created based on one of Shakespeare's plays and listen to that particular monologue taking place, right? But either way, do one of these two, one of these three levels. It's entirely up to you, or do one of them from each of them, right? So the piece that I did, like I mentioned, Starry Night was my all-time favorite painting. So this is the piece that I did on a tile several years back. And it is very textured. Let me see if I can turn it so you can kind of see the texture that's in there. This is it is just literally just a tile, and I drew it. I I drew the painting. I drew it on there. Actually, drew it in pencil, and then I took glazes, various types of glazes, and put it on, and then I baked it in, put it into the kiln and fired it. But you can see the texture. I was trying to duplicate the texture that Van Gogh has on his painting. His painting is very thick. If you've ever seen a Van Gogh painting up close and personal, you'll understand it is literally like it's almost a sculpture when you look at a Van Gogh painting because it is so thick with the paint and there's just so much texture to it. It could be actually be considered a relief sculpture. So this is the piece that I did. It's just a small tile, and sometimes I use it as a hot plate because since it is glazed, putting anything hot on there is not going to really bother it. So for you is just come up with your favorite painting or your favorite sculpture and just see if you can duplicate it in a small form. I'm not saying going out and duplicating the sculpture of David in life form at all. But if you get just a little packet of clay from the Dollar Tree and just see what you can do with it, right? And then another thing you could do if you're not into, working with your hands, then just go and find a concert. Maybe your favorite performer is coming. Just go to a concert, and if even if it's somebody that you don't necessarily know or are familiar with, or even a performer that you don't necessarily like, maybe just go and open yourself up to new things. That's also part of being in art awe is maybe it's something that maybe it's a type of music that you don't necessarily care for or have never really listened to. Go and go to YouTube and YouTube music and pull up some of that music and just listen to it. Just expose yourself to it for a little bit and just see, maybe your mind will change about it. The thing is, the older we get, we tend to find, maybe back in the day, we didn't necessarily like that kind of food. Today might be different, right? That's the other thing you could do is just go to a new restaurant, try out a different restaurant, check out some food that you may not necessarily have tried before, or you tried it once, you didn't really like it. So these are all different formats of art, right? When people think of food, they may not necessarily think about food being art, but it is a form of art. It does take creativity putting these different dishes together. And when it all comes together in your mouth, it can be absolutely amazing. So food, music performance, sculpting, painting, drawing, any of those things. And if you feel so inclined, come back and share with me what you did or tag me on social media. I I am pretty much the same as Gina Wells on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Very easy to find me. I would love to see what you all did. So that is today's Making Mondays Matter is just being an art off. It's a new year. expose yourself to different types of creativity. Let's not, get stuck on the same thing that we okay, so we like Chinese food. Maybe this year we expand a little bit and test out some Thai food, right? Um, maybe you like paintings. Instead of going to a museum, maybe you go to a sculpture exhibit and see three-dimensional. To me, a sculpture is nothing but a three-dimensional form of a painting. Okay. And maybe you find one of those, what do they call them? Where you can go and the clay is already built for you. Maybe you just sit there and you add the glaze to it, and then they fire it for you and have you have a piece that you can take home. And it's just you do that with friends, and it's a piece that it actually reminds you of the time that you spent together doing that, and you also tried your hand at a new type of art. All right. So thanks for joining me in this discussion about being in art. And remember, art is all around us. The clothes that you put on, put on, that was designed by someone who, a designer is an artist, right? That is an artist, and everything around us has the power to inspire. I have my Christmas tree is still up, and on there are just tiny little pieces of artwork. Some of them have been done by my children, some of them have been done by other people, but they're all little pieces of artwork that are just hanging on the Christmas tree. When you go outside, there's art all around us. The home that you live in, that was designed by an artist, right? So try to kind of open your mind up to art being everywhere. It is literally everywhere. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to continue to follow, you can simply just click the notification button and you will get notified whenever I am live and whenever I have new content that is being posted. So until next time, please keep finding inspiration in the world around you and stay in awe of art, because art is literally everywhere. And I will see you all again real soon.